Hi everyone, it's Kelly here. Perhaps you can hear in my my voice, I've had the COVID and I am still in recovery mode. Technically, I've come to the end of my isolation period, but I still have symptoms, so I am still isolating for COVID. I'm really tired of being sick, to be honest. So hopefully I'll be on the mend very soon. I think I'm on the mend, but still a little snuffly, a little bit of the spicy cough, as my brother-in-law calls it. So yeah, apologies in advance if any of that's coming through on the video. All right, today I just wanted to check in with you because it's been a while since I've made a video. As I said, I've had COVID. I've also been very, very busy at work, although, you know, the COVID isolation has kind of made me stop for a bit and just recover and focus on my health for a little bit, which is probably a good thing. It's probably what my body needs. But yeah, anyway, I wanted to make a video today to share with you some of the book mail that's been coming, as well as some books that I purchased at a shop before I got COVID, obviously. So yeah, I just want to share a couple of books that have come in over the last couple of weeks. So the first one I'm going to show you today is Pandora. And if you follow me on Instagram, which I've been posting on a little bit more than I have been in the past, and definitely more than I've been posting on this channel. So pop over there. The link to my Instagram is in the description. But yeah, I already posted about this in my Instagram because it arrived. I'd spent a little bit more money to get the hardback because it was not significantly more expensive than the paperback. And gosh, am I glad I did, because look at this. It's so beautiful. And it's got this sort of like lovely navy blue sprayed edges there, but this gorgeous design over here. So that's a Pandora. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Pandora. So it's set in London in 1799. Dora Blake is an aspiring jewellery artist who lives with her uncle in what used to be her parents' famed shop of antiquities. When a mysterious Greek vase is delivered, Dora is intrigued by her uncle's suspicious behaviour and enlists the help of Edward Lawrence, a young antiquarian scholar. Edward sees the ancient vase, excuse me, as key to unlocking his academic future. Dora sees it as a chance to restore the shop to its former glory and to escape her nefarious uncle. But what Edward discovers about the vase has Dora questioning everything she has believed about her life, her family, and the world as she knows it. As Dora uncovers the truth, she starts to realize that some mysteries are buried and some doors are locked for a reason. That's Pandora. I'm very excited to actually get to the story as well. It's beautiful, but it's also a really intriguing synopsis of the story. So I'm very keen to get to that at some point soon. The next two books I'm going to show you together because they are both sort of vaguely on the same topic. So the first one is This Woman's Work, Essays on Music, edited by Sinead Gleason and Kim Gordon. And the other one is Stories I Might Regret Telling You, a memoir by Martha Wainwright. So these sort of linked in my mind because they're both about the music industry and women's place in it. This one obviously is one woman's place in it, and this one is written from multiple perspectives. So this one is basically a collection of essays written by different women who are in the music industry in different roles. So I don't think all of them are the musicians, or perhaps they are. I don't know that they're all written by musicians, but they're all written about women who are in the music industry. So that's going to be a really fascinating read. And this one is Martha Wainwright, who is a Canadian musician from a long line of Canadian musicians. Her brother is Rufus Wainwright, who you may know if you're not already familiar with Martha and her work. She has some really amazing sort of some albums that she has done over the years that are really really great, and I have followed her music career. But yeah, she published this year, so I was quite keen to get to it and to get myself a copy because I wanted to read all about her experience in the music industry and what it's like, you know, sort of coming from a music royalty, I guess you could call it, you know, a family tradition of music, and of being in the music industry. So I thought that would be a really interesting book. But also she's in this book, I believe, talking a little bit about some of the people that she's met along the way as well. And she has some quite well-known musical friends, like Leonard Cohen, for example. So yeah, that should be quite interesting, just to sort of see her perspective on some of those people that we know in the music industry, and also kind of balancing between, you know, experiencing your musical career, but also having a private life and having things happen as part of your private life, and how that sort of plays out, being, you know, a bit of a celebrity as well. So yeah, quite keen to get to both of these at some point soon. And yeah, they should be both very interesting to read about and learn about. Right, back to some fiction now. This is a book that I've seen a few people talking about very positively. This is not a book about Benedict Cumberbatch by Tabitha Carvan. Actually, sorry, this is not fiction at all. This is about, so sorry, bad intro there. This is still non-fiction. So this is about women and passions, women loving things and people, and sort of being okay with that. And I am quite interested to get to this one. So yeah, I think it's one of those things where, you know, women are often told that the things that they love and are interested in are not okay, or are not interesting. And this book is sort of just like permission to just love whatever you want and to do it the way that you want to. So yeah, this should be a really good read as well. Now we're kind of moving back towards fiction, actually more towards poetry. So I've got two books here that are poetry. The first one is called Throat by Ellen van Neerven. And this, as you can see from the many stickers that are down here, that this is a book that has been well awarded. It was the winner of the New South Wales Premier's Literary Awards in 2021, as well as the Victorian Premier's Literary Awards, a finalist in Queensland, and also Book of the Year, winner, Book of the Year in the New South Wales Premier's Literary. Is that a different thing? It says winner and Book of the Year. Anyway, I don't know if that's two separate awards or two stickers for the same award, but that's okay. Either way, it's a very well awarded book. Ellen van Neerven is an Aboriginal poet, I believe, and has been on the scene for some time, and writing amazing poetry. So, and I've never read any of her poetry, so I'm quite keen to get to this collection. I bought this when I was this I bought in a real shop, not ordered online. So that was exciting to be able to actually go to a real bookshop, because it's been a bit of time. And I bought this while I was buying some stuff for my mum. So for Mother's Day, which has been and gone. So yeah, this should be an interesting poetry collection. The other poetry collection I purchased is Dropbear by Evelyn Araluen, and I've already read this. It's amazing. I gave it 5 stars, and I'll talk more about it in my wrap up for May. This was the winner of the Stella Prize this year. It's the first year that they've allowed excuse me, that they've allowed poetry collections to be eligible, and a poetry collection won, which is amazing. Evelyn Araluen is also an Aboriginal poet, and this was just an amazing collection. I would say it probably, no, I'll talk more about it. I'll talk more about it when I'm wrapping up. But it's, to me, it was definitely a poetry collection that was very local, very New South Wales, very Sydney and surrounds. You know, it was definitely, it had place to it. And I think the fact that I live in Sydney and I've been to some of the surrounding areas of Sydney helped me to understand a lot of the references in this book. So if you're not from there, you might find it a bit trickier to access. However, what you will still be able to access regardless is the power of these words. This was an amazing collection and I highly, highly recommend it, as do clearly the panel from the Stella Prize this year. But yeah, definitely get a copy of this if you can. So it's Dropbear, and a Dropbear is a sort of, I'm going to say mythical kind of a creature, kind of like a bunyip, and yeah, she talks about the Dropbear and the bunyip and other creatures like that as well in the book. But mostly I think this is a book about colonialism and the sort of things, the ongoing effects of colonialism, even many, you know, decades after. There's ongoing effects and there's ongoing trauma that has occurred because of colonialism. This book is just so powerful, and I really would encourage people to pick it up. I actually ordered that one directly from the publisher, which is the University of Queensland Press. And while I was there, I also ordered this one. I think there was a, you know, if you spend a certain amount, the shipping was free, possibly. Or maybe I was just trying to make the most of the shipping. Sometimes I do that too. Anyway, this is Permafrost by S.J. Norman. I actually don't know too much about this. I have seen this around, but I thought I would just pick it up. I don't know if it is short stories, possibly. Let me read you a little bit from the back. Permafrost explores the shifting spaces of desire, loss, and longing, inverting and queering the Gothic and Romantic traditions. Each story, so they're short stories, represents a different take on the concept of a haunting or the haunted. Though it ranges across themes and locations from small-town Australia to Hokkaido to rural England, this collection is united by the power of the narratorial voice with its auto-fictional resonances, dark wit and swagger. Whether recounting the confusion of a child trying to decipher their father and stepmother's new relationship, the surrealness of an after-hours tour of Auschwitz, or a journey to wintry Japan to reconnect with a former lover, Permafrost unsettles, transports, and impresses in equal measure. So it sounds like a really amazing book and an amazing collection. And the fact that it's short stories, I think, is probably a good thing because, you know, it means that you can read it in little chunks and then sort of pop it aside, pick it up again when you're ready. So I'm looking forward to getting to that one when I can. Right. I also had a little bit of a, these books are on special kind of moment, and ordered a couple of books. And the first one is Gallant by V Schwab. I've never read any V Schwab, and I know that there are mixed reviews about V Schwab's work, but the cover of this one obviously made me interested because it's quite beautiful. Let's have a look and see what the... Ooh, sorry, take that off. Quite plain, but a really nice colour. So let me, I've just taken off the thing. I'm like, I'll just read you the inside jacket cover. No, you won't, Kelly. Okay. All of her life, Olivia Pryor has wondered who she truly is and where she belongs. Her only clue is a slim, battered journal, her mother's journal full of entries that seem to show that she was unraveling, and drawings that look like blots of ink, until Olivia notices a hand, a door, a bloom, a skull. Then a letter beckons Olivia home to Gallant, the one place her mother's journal warns her never to go. Olivia goes anyway, of course she does. What she finds is her last living relative and her family's manor, a manor with a ballroom and a sitting room and a study and a sprawling, vibrant garden, and the crumbling ruin of a garden wall with an iron door, a door she must never open. But no one at Gallant sent Olivia that letter, and no one will tell her what haunts her cousin's dreams, what happened to her mother, or what lies on the other side of the wall. Did the shadows call Olivia home? What will they ask of her in return? So that sounds quite fascinating. Whoops. We'll put that back together later. So yeah, I'm quite keen to get to that one. That sounds really good. Okay, the other book that was on special that I picked up was The Beautiful Ones by Silvia Moreno-Garcia, who is the author of Mexican Gothic. I have not read Mexican Gothic, but I heard good things, so I picked this one up. Also, of course, the cover was singing to me. So yeah, quite keen to. I always get drawn to like beautiful covers. And then I'm like, yeah, that story sounds okay. I'll get that. But again, like I said, this one was on special. So let me tell you a little bit about this one. They are The Beautiful Ones. Loisale's most notable socialites, and this spring is Nina's chance to join their ranks, courtesy of her well-connected cousin and his calculating wife. But the grand season has just begun, and already Nina's debut has gone disastrously awry. She has always struggled to control her telekinesis. Neighbours call her the Witch of Old House, and the haphazard manifestations of her power make her the subject of malicious gossip. When entertainer Hector Auvray arrives to town, Nina is dazzled. A telekinetic like her, he has travelled the world performing his talents for admiring audiences. He sees Nina not as a witch, but ripe with potential to master her power under his tutelage. With Hector's help, Nina's talent blossoms, as does her love for him. But great romances are for fairy tales, and Hector is hiding a truth from Nina and himself that threatens to end their courtship before it truly begins. So that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. All right. My next little set, this is these last couple of books have arrived quite recently. Actually, I'm going to talk about this one first because I pre-ordered it a long time ago and it just took forever to get here. And that is Galatea, a short story by Madeline Miller, which I'm quite keen to get to. Now, I read The Song of Achilles maybe last year or the year before, and it's such a good book. So good. If you haven't read it, you need to. It's definitely worth the hype that it gets all over the internet. Anyway, I thought I'd grab this. It's very, very short and very, very tiny. So yeah, I thought I'd grab that because I think it will be a really good read. Madeline Miller is an expert author who writes amazing things. If The Song of Achilles is anything to go by. So I know this short story is going to be awesome as well. And I am going to read that. So I pre-ordered it ages and ages ago and it just took forever to get here. Okay. The next one I'm going to tell you about is one, so these last three books are books that arrived quite recently. The last one came maybe yesterday or the day before. So this is Rose, and it is The Extraordinary Voyage of Rose de Freycinet, the stowaway who, or Freycinet maybe, the stowaway who sailed around the world for love by Suzanne Faulkner. So I'd heard a lot about this book before getting it. And it's one of those books that the things that I've heard about it are, you need to read it because it's sort of one of those reclaiming of women's history that had sort of been buried. So it's 1814. It's the aftermath of the French Revolution. And this woman, Rose, she was at the time a teenager, 19 years old, sorry. She gets married to, her name's Rose, and she gets married to a naval officer, Louis de Freycinet, who is 15 years older than her. So what happens is she ends up dressing up in men's clothing, and because her husband's he's a naval officer, as we've said, he's about to embark on a naval trip that in those days probably would have been, possibly years. She doesn't want to part from him. And so she dresses up like a man and secretly comes aboard the ship the day before it sails. And then she's on that ship for 3 years. And obviously that was like there were strict prohibitions against that sort of thing at the time. So she was definitely doing the wrong thing. However, obviously she remained there. But basically, because of that, she was a woman who traveled around the world and got to see amazing things, including, you know, surviving a shipwreck, evading pirates, etc., etc. So, and she recorded, so she has diaries and so on, and recorded what she saw and experienced. And I believe, just this is not from this book, but from what I've heard elsewhere when and while we were talking about this character in the news, because this was a sort of recent discovery, I believe, is that she, so she, as we say, she wrote about all of these things. There are other documents of that time that were changed at the time, or, you know, 2 drawings were done, one that included her in it and one that didn't, and things like that. So, you know, that was still sort of kept quiet, hush-hush, that this woman had been involved in this journey, and it's only recently that it's come out. So anyway, I'm interested to read this one and find out more about this woman who saw and journaled about the amazing things that she saw at a time when that was not the done thing. All right, so the last 2 books, and I'm conscious that I've been recording for some time. You can hear my voice is now starting to go. I've got 2 books here that are nominees in the Miles Franklin Award for this year. They're in the long list. So one is The Performance by Claire Thomas, and the other is Echolalia by Bryony Doyle. I'm going to say it's on a whim. I think it's something I had been thinking about for a little bit, because I had definitely put in my diary when the Miles Franklin long list was going to be announced and so on. I've decided that I'm going to try to read all of the long list this year, which sort of maps in a little bit with some of my goals that I already have. I have a goal to read lots of Australian books this year. I'm definitely achieving that, but if I can do this, that'll be even more Australian books that I'll be able to read this year. And I haven't yet checked this, but it's possible that some of these are going to match in with some of the prompts that I've been, that I haven't yet achieved in my Australian reading challenge. I've also set up a new challenge on, so the Australian Reading Challenge, if you haven't heard me talking about it before, is a challenge that I set up on the Storygraph. Anyone is welcome to join. We are almost halfway through the year, so it will be a little bit more challenging if you are only just joining now, but you absolutely can. Please come and join us if you wish. I've also set up another challenge now on the Storygraph, which is reading the books of the Miles Franklin Award long list. So if you would like to join me for that as well, you can find that amongst challenges on the Storygraph. The Miles Franklin one you'll find under, if you just browse, you'll find it under the literary awards category in that browsing section of reading challenges. And the Australian one, I can't remember what the category is called, but it's to do with like geographical or something like that. So that's where you'll find that one, but you can also just search for them. I will try and link them below as well in the description. Anyway, I'm quite looking forward to reading these 2. I'm sort of doing a bit of a combination. I did a deep dive trying to see what I could get at my local libraries and on services that I already subscribe to. So, for example, I subscribe to Scribd, and some of the books are available in audiobook or ebook form there. So I'm not going to buy the ones that I am able to get already through various means, either library or subscriptions. But yeah, I wasn't able to get these 2. So I've purchased those. Only one of the books I already had. So yeah, that's interesting. And I've also already read that, so you can, and I will tell you more about that when I come to record my wrap up for the month of May, because I've already read one of the books. There's only one book that that was a bit tricky to get, which I can't remember the name of, but it was the last one in the list. And yeah, so I've still got to see if I can find that book. I've requested my library purchase it, so fingers crossed that they will, and it will come in time for me to read it before the end of the year. But if not, I will see if I can purchase it. I was able to find it. It was just very expensive and I didn't want to spend the money. So we'll have to wait and see. Okay, so that's my wrap up for the books that I have acquired in the last few weeks. Some of them are, purchases that I've made while unwell and stuck at home. Others are ones that I've just have pre-ordered and they've arrived, or I've been able to pop out to the shops and get. So that's been quite exciting, and I look forward to chatting with you on the next one. But tell me if you've read any of these books down in the comments. I'd love to know if there are ones that I should prioritize. And I always love chatting with people as well in the comments, so please feel free to chat down below. Thanks guys, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.